Alrighty, we have the necessary materials just spread out here. We have our protractor printed on an index card, a piece of string, some sort of weight that we're going to attach to the string to make sure it hangs vertical, a flexi straw, and then scissors and a paper hole punch. So to start off with, we'll go ahead and take the string, and we need to make some sort of loop out of it. So usually how I do that is I take the two loose ends on one side and I just form a nice little circle, pass both of the ends through, and then just pull it tight so that now we have a knot located there and a closed loop of string. Now that excess piece there, those little tails, we can just clip those off and not worry about those at all. So now we have our loop of string. And now the question is how to attach the washer to it. Now, of course, I have a washer. You could also just use a paper clip. But how I do that is I just pass one end of the loop through the washer. And so we see now, if I can get my hands out of the way, we see that we have the washer just inside the loop. And then just take one part of the loop and pass it through the other. And when you pull it tight, you should notice no knots are required, but then the washer is firmly attached to the piece of string. And we can actually do the same sort of situation for the straw as well. Now with the straw, you notice I have a flexi straw here. We don't want that flexible part. We just want the straight part of the straw. So I'll go ahead and clip that off. And so now we don't have any bend or anything like that. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll lay this down on the table, and you notice we have the loop, and then I'll just simply, excuse me, that got twisted up there. So I have that down on the table, and I'll just pass the washer over the straw and through. And again, you see tightening it up. Now it's attached to the straw, so long as it doesn't slip off the end. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a moment. Now we've got our plumb line taken care of. The other piece that we need to deal with is the index card. So I've actually got two copies here. You could print it on the line side if you want, or if you feel like that obscures the reading of the protractor itself, you can just do it on the blank side. I'll go ahead and just use the blank side for right now. So we'll set that off. And so what we have here, first of all, I'm going to go ahead. These circles here are where the straw is going to actually be attached to the index card. And so I'll go ahead and first of all just paper hole punch those out. So we'll go ahead and one, and we'll go over here to the other side. And you see already I've got a problem. My paper hole punch doesn't actually allow me to go all the way to the second set of holes. This will be fine, but it might be something to be mindful of as you're printing it off. If you have a better paper hole punch or one that has a deeper, I don't know what to call that, but if it allows you to punch holes further away, that's fine. This will be okay. Now the other thing that I'll do is that I have a dash line here. We're going to want to fold along that dash line. So I'll just take a ruler and place it down on that line just to make sure that I get a nice sharp fold there. And we'll just fold that over. And we'll have to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll fold that over. And then of course after you have those made, you can always remove the ruler and really get it a nice sharp fold if you want. Okay. So now we have our protractor, and we have these two little, if you will, for lack of a better term, I'll call them arms. Now the paper hole, the holes that we've punched, that should be about the right size for a straw just to slip through. So it might take a little bit of finagling here, but ideally, there we go. And the same thing, ideally on the other side, we should be able to just pass the straw through. There we are. Okay. Now the last thing that we'll want to do, and this one makes it a little harder because the straw is further away, but the last thing we'll want to do is just to position it so that that string is over the vertical spot of the protractor. So it might require you to kind of finagle to move that string just a little bit, just to get in the right position. And once it's there, I would recommend just taking a small piece of tape and go ahead and just tape the top's part of that string to the straw, and that'll just prevent it from shifting around too much, and we're good. Now, there's other things you can do. For example, these two pieces of paper here, if you find them too obtrusive, you can always cut along the indicated line just to get rid of those pieces, just to make it a little easier. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I've just cut that out. That won't affect the operation at all. In fact, that might help make it a little bit easier to use because it'll give you a place to put your hands and hang on to it. So I'll get rid of those two pieces. And there you go. So that's all I have for that. Now you notice also that as you hang it, that string will be free to rotate, and then you can read the angle on the background of the protractor.